Hey, what's up, everyone? Cameron Moss and Samantha Rose here to do a advanced social media training for you. We've got some awesome takeaways from the first ever playbook event, and we want to bring those topics to you today. So we're super excited to be here with you. We're going to just kind of kick this thing back and forth and share our biggest tips and takeaways. Hey,
Awesome.
Samantha.
How's it going?
Awesome.
Okay, awesome. So, one thing that I really took away from Epic was the social media training. Like, it was absolutely on another level. Just when I thought I knew everything about like Facebook and Instagram, there were just some really little keys that really stuck with me. And one of them was really just telling your story in your own voice, right? And being authentic, like your true authentic self, talking about like actual experiences that you've experienced, right? Or experiences that you're inspired by, like people's stories that you're inspired by, or something like just talking about the way it makes you feel and not just, putting a quote out there or, just a little short sentence, like really have people feel what it felt like to be in that very moment. That was huge. So I've been really focusing on that when it comes to posting lately. It'll attract more people. It'll make you more relatable. So that's really what we're looking for here. We're looking to connect and attract the people that we want to surround ourselves with, right? Attract your tribe. So tell your story, be your true authentic self, and it'll really bring a lot of value to your Facebook.
Awesome. Yeah. Oh, sorry. No, I was just going to say, no, I love that. And can you just give us kind of an example of what that looks like?
Yeah, absolutely. So for me, when I was at Epic, it was an indescribable feeling. So but if I try to tell somebody what it felt like, use a lot of description words. Talk about, the excitement, the butterflies, the environment, what it looked like, what it smelled like, what the food tastes like, how many times you laughed, who you were with, the feelings that you felt, because it'll really bring people into the story and make them feel like they're there. So that way they can say, I can see myself doing that too, or feeling that too. But you know what? Like one thing that you were talking about earlier was the personalities and like really projecting them through your posts. So will you touch on that too, please?
Yeah, absolutely. So when I think about this, about, tapping into all the different personality types, our Facebook audience, our list of Facebook friends is a diverse group of multiple different personalities, walks of life, ways of life, everything, right? It's a whole, and so think about it as if you were opening a clothing store. You wouldn't want to have all your clothes just one style,
Yes.
just the style that you like. You actually want to have, you're going to have stuff that you're like, oh my gosh, that is hideous, but it's for somebody, right? So when you're putting together this Facebook, this story and your post overall, we want to make sure that we're tapping into each one of those personalities so that so that your message reaches more people essentially.
Yes.
And what I loved that they shared at the event, I think it came from Jessie Lee Ward, was she said, you can really tell in your comments if you're hitting each of those types of people. Go back through your comments and you'll have people that are, your yellow personality, which are, they're mush balls and they're emotional and they're like, oh my gosh, this made me cry. And then you have your, that red personality, which is more aggressive and you can, say the right thing that kind of captures them. You've got, that blue personality, which is fun and crazy. It adds personality. So maybe it makes people laugh at the same time that it makes them cry. It's real emotion.
Yes.
You have green, which is analytical. So you don't get too crazy, but you throw enough out there where it captures those people as well. So I think having that well-rounded, without taking an hour or two to really think out this status, just make sure when you're throwing it together that you are hitting each of those different personality types.
Yes, 100%. I agree. That was like, because if you were to literally touch everybody in different ways with every one of your posts, your net would grow so much bigger. That's awesome. That was huge for me. What about like, growing your network and expanding your network? You're so good at really just branching out into all these different types of people and walks of life, like you said. So will you touch a little bit more on like how to expand your network?
Yeah, absolutely. So, social media is something that when I got started, I honestly don't know how many friends I had on social media because it was not something I ever looked at. It was mainly just my communication with friends and family. And I really didn't think anything outside of that. Like if someone sent me a friend request that was just like a random person, I was just like, why are they friending me? Right? Can anybody relate to that? But it's different when you're using this platform to build a business and to expand your network. And I think it's something that's important that we think about. And hopefully, now you're in the advanced social media. So maybe you've already started to kind of think about that and started to make, more public posts, your posts that you are okay with the whole world seeing. You're doing those public, and then you've got your private for friends and family, which we'll touch on that too. But like when you're doing this, you're considering the amount of people that you want to have in your network now. And so it's important that a couple things, that we continue to expand that network. The statistics say that only about 6 to 10% of your friends see your posts. So if we have, 500 friends, how many of people are actually seeing our posts when we make it? So that's something that takes time, and we want to do it authentically. We don't just want to go friend a lot of people. We want to make sure that we're adding not only people but valuable people that we want to attract into our network. So that's one thing, is growing your friends list. Be authentic about it so that you don't get thrown into Facebook jail or something like that. But start to grow that, slide through your the suggested friends and look for people who catch your attention. And also you see, oh, we only have one mutual friend or two mutual friends, and that's not anyone related to Prove It. So this looks like someone that I may want to attract into my network, right? And as you do that, keep a running list of these people, so that you also not only are attracting them into your network, but they're also seeing your posts. So when you become friends with these people, you want to go on and you want to like a couple of their pictures. You want to comment on their stuff. And then when you come in, let's say you have, 2 hours a day to work your business, and social media is one of your time blocks. You're using that time on social media efficiently versus just scrolling or just spending all this time on an awesome post and putting it out there and only having fellow provers see it, whether they're in your team or not. Like that's not who we're trying to market to. So this is probably one of the most important components when it comes to social media and using your business, building your business and your network here, is making sure that you're actually networking and marketing to the right audience. And you control that based on knowing who those people are and being attentive about that when you're on your social media.
Yes, 100%. That's huge. Huge. You really do. You got to focus on it, because you don't want to just be advertising to a bunch of Prove It people that already drink Prove It, right? So for me, I've been really focusing a lot on Instagram and using that platform to expand my network as well. So it's something that realistically we can all do, and it has a lot to do with Facebook as well. It's connected. One thing that you can do to expand that is hashtags. Using hashtags, and that's something that you can use on Facebook too. But the same way you want to focus your people, what you were saying, like when you were kind of like targeting them, you want to do the same thing on Instagram. And everything is separated by hashtags. So one thing that Kendra said that really, just stuck with me was finding people that are interested in the same things that you're interested in. So if you search for something like hashtag, entrepreneur, you know exactly what you're looking for. And then you can actually go through and find those people, like look at their profiles, see what they're posting, see what they're all about, and genuinely create that relationship, just like you would if you met them at the grocery store or at, a dinner party. Comment on their stuff. Talk about the clothes that they're wearing, be specific and make it feel very real and personal, because that's what this is all about. And you'd be surprised how many really cool people you'll meet, online. It's kind of a shift in mindset for some people, but it's huge. You'll meet, real people that are out there just like us doing this, wanting this and waiting for this opportunity to just fall into their lap. Another thing is there's a little option on there. You have to have an updated version, and I wasn't sure if it was only on iPhone, but you can actually flag people in your messages. So you can kind of like star it like you would in your email, and you can flag certain messages to be orange, so that we can kind of keep that organization. That's super important when it comes to time management. If you're doing this full time, especially, or at least trying to, even with the part-timers, like you've got to be organized and specific with your time. But comment, answer questions, make sure, you thank people and you talk to them. That's huge on Instagram. And the stories feature, like Huge. It's the majority of it, because here's the thing. Your Instagram page, when you first open it up, like your wall and your newsfeed, that's kind of like your business card, right? So it's the first thing that somebody's going to see when they come on. And if you're constantly putting, sharing a bunch of videos of random things and the news and this, and you're making like 25 posts a day, that's not going to show somebody what you're truly about right when they open up your Instagram, right? So the stories section will be able to give you that opportunity to kind of just post what's on your mind and brain dump and give people another story to watch, but it's just your day. So it's only there for 24 hours. So somebody can see a day in the life of you, and you're not going to be a billboard. You're not going to post flyers and this and buy this and buy this and buy this and buy this and ketones. Like, post what you're doing. Post the shoes that you're wearing. You're going to the gym. Be genuine. Give people something to watch and something to look forward to seeing. Like, oh, I wonder what she's doing. Use the questions feature. And if you go into the features, everything in there is specifically there and can be strategically used to attract people, create engagement, ask questions, ask yes or no questions, say, do you like this shirt, or whatever it may be, to get people to engage with you. Get them to engage with you, just like you would with any interest-piquing post when it came to ketones. You want people to engage with you, not just go to your website and buy something. So that for me, using time lapse videos, just sharing everything, it's huge. People want to be a part of that. They feel like they're a part of your life, just like when the Kardashians, blew up. We all had to know what was going on. It's the same thing. People want to know what we're doing, and people want to know what's going on. But you said something too about what do you do with Facebook and the Facebook memories? I was like, oh, yes.
Oh, yeah. So first, couple things. Like, I have all these triggers going off as you're saying that. You're amazing. Like I told you earlier, you're so good with stories. Like, you're one of the most consistent story contributors. Like, your story is on point. And I love that because, like you said, that's what people watch television. They watch Netflix. Like, they like watching other people's lives. And if you think about it, if you go into your story, I'm kind of newer to the world of stories, honestly. Like, when we were in the Bahamas for an event, like, that's when I started doing stories. That was like no time ago, but beginning of December. So I'm just like, I'm a preschooler in the story world. I wasn't even looking at people's stories. So this goes both ways. It's great to have your own, but B, it's great to look at people's stories because the engagement is so much more personable there. When you're scrolling through the newsfeed, you just got this constant scroll going. But when you're in stories, if you might hit someone's story, and then you hit Samantha Rose and you see like boom, 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 like 6 of them. We just saw like a timeline of her day. And that caught your attention more than just this person that randomly throws up something on their story every now and then. So consistency is key there, right? And the fact that I can just very easily pop a little heart over to her, and that starts a conversation just like that, or a smiley face, or whatever it is, a thumbs up. And then you can hit back like, hey, awesome, da-da-da, by the way, how are you doing? Like, it jumps you guys straight there to the DM. And the same with Facebook. And I think that's huge. And here's what I tell people when people are asking me, like, how often, should I post? What's too much to have on my timeline? This is the way I look at it, Sam, is that your timeline, like you said, that's kind of like your business card. Like, you need to be strategic about what you post there. Your story is people want to watch this. They are clicking your name and they are choosing to not just thumb past you, but to click each one of those. They want to see what you're doing. This is your permission to go all out there. You don't have to think about how often. Jessie Lee said you should post every time you mix up your ketones. You should have that on your story because they need to see how easy it is. So the story is gold, and you can see how many people are actually seeing your story. Like, you can actually look at the bottom and see, like, oh wow, 150 people actually looked at this. That's amazing. That's
huge. And you can click on that and you can see who it is. Like, I'll see people that I'm not following, and the little follow thing actually just popped up on the list. But it's like, if I see, Abby123 is always watching my stuff and she answers my questions, I'm going to go ahead and follow her, look at her stuff and be like, hey girl, I love your page. Oh my gosh, that sweater or that beach was amazing. Like, where did you go on that vacation? I need to know. I start talking to this person. Like, I want to get to know them. I'm not just like, yo, you want to try ketones? Or whatever. Like, you just can't do that to people. You have to, I just posted something that Gary Vee said, and like Brian always says, I don't agree with everything he says, but he does fire me up. He talked about, you know, you got to contribute. You have to give. You can't just hit people up all the time, like asking for things.
Right.
Give to them, like provide them not only resources. He said, tell them like, look, I have sweat that I will commit to you, like time, sweat, and energy that I will commit to you, and just meet that person where they're at. And this business is 100% all about that.
Yeah, it really, really is. And I want to just back up. I hope you guys are taking notes, because this is a lot of information, and you may go back and watch this and kind of like pause it at different points. But we were talking a little bit about that, like attraction marketing or your hit list, hot list. We talked about that with Samantha, talked about actually starring those people on Instagram. It's not called starring. What's it called?
Flagging.
There you go, flagging. And one thing I forgot to mention on the Facebook side of that is that when you go to this person's page, so let's say like right now you get off this Zoom and you go through your friends list and you find 5 or 10 people that you want to add to your hot list. Go to their page and click like following or friends, one of those, you know, right under their name. And you can actually change it to where you see first. And what this does is when you go on Facebook, like when I open up my Facebook, I instantly see the people that are on my hot list. Like those, I don't have to go search for them. They're there and I can engage with them there. And I'm telling y'all, this works. Like this method works. If you're trying to figure out, if you're not knowing where to get people from, if you're like, I've tapped into my warm network, I'm, you know, a stay-at-home mom, I don't leave my house, I don't know anybody, this is where it's at. And you can design your dream team, which leads us to something Sam's going to talk about on the Instagram side of thing with collections.
Oh yeah. So that flag feature, that right there is how you can design your dream team, right? So there's also something called collections, and you can take those flagged people and you can add them into a collection of people. You want to take a bath? Okay. Right when I'm, okay, that sounds good. Go ask him to start the bath. Okay. So you can take those people and you can actually put them into a collection. And Jessie Lee said she named it her dream team, but I mean, manifest it, like find people and engage with them because of like, you see them on your team. You see something, some value that they can provide and bring to the team, and go after that. Like go find that, add them to that little group. And that's another way to just stay organized. I think between Cameron and I, we're both like, always talking about ways on like how to hack things, how to make things easier, how to organize. Like we geek out on our planners. Like you got to see my new planner. It's so organized. Like this is real, people. But like you can do the same thing on Instagram. Like you have that feature to like make your dream team. You can make one with your customers. Like that's super easy. So when there's something going on, you can go to your little collection of your customers, your dream team or whatever, and you know who you're talking to, and you really like have that reminder all the time.
Can you tell us real quick, can you walk us through, like just for the ones that are taking notes, how do they set up the collections?
So it's in the same area of the settings, and I don't know if it looks different on a Samsung and an iPhone, but if you just go into where the messages are, and you go into where the 3 little dots are on the top, you know, where you have the settings, it'll say collections, and you have to update your app. So make sure that that's there.
Okay.
So it'll say flagged and collections, and you'll see the little orange flags on your messages when you flag them.
Boom. I love it. And on that note too, while you're in the settings, make sure that your story is also sharing to Facebook. So when you share, this is a great way. A lot of people, when I'm talking to them, like, hey, are you using Instagram? Because by the way, y'all, Instagram's where it's at. Like if you're just using Facebook, you really need to use Instagram as well. And a great way to do that is I post on my Instagram story, and it also shares to my Facebook story. So you can do that in the settings, and this makes it where you're tapping both at the same time. It's genius.
Yep, that's huge. And like when you go in there, talk about like, and I know I already said stories, but do your hobbies, do your recipes, do like your low carb stuff or anything that would be healthy or motivating, or what your kids are up to. If you went to yoga, or, you know, make sure you're just constantly talking about things and not just prove it. And don't use a lot of prove it jargon, right? So what that means is like, you don't need to say, this is my upline, this is my team leader, and this is my downline. and we're that's just, it doesn't, people don't even know what that means. People aren't going to know, like, if you hit an achievement or you hit a goal, right? If you hit MVP, like, talk about how important it is to you, how it made you feel, what you went through to get you there, and why you're so proud and happy. So that way people can really understand kind of like what's going on and not just celebrate like a label, right? Just try to be very, very authentic in sharing stuff like that. Don't talk about like, this is, prove it, like, this is my ketones, this is my packet, and these are the ingredients, you know what I mean? And then if you scan this barcode, you can find the prices. Like, you don't need to even go that far. Just say like, love this stuff. Oh my gosh, I literally made it through the day because of this. I never would have made it. Like, I feel superhuman. I'm still energized. Put the kids to bed, and I just had a personal dance party. Bam! And people are like, what is that?
What is that? I love that. That's so awesome. And, you know, speaking of being authentic, Sam, one thing that they talked about that I like there too was using your Facebook memories. So, like, you know, Facebook loves to pop up those memories like 2 years ago on this day. And I know sometimes I get a kick out of it because it'll pop up a video, like one of my first videos that I did. I said, like every other word I said, and I was driving and my phone was like falling over while I was doing it. Like, you don't have to necessarily share all of that, but you can use memories. Look, you may have maybe you have a fat loss transformation. That's a great way to, you know, remind people about what your results have been by going, oh my gosh, this memory just popped up, you know, can't believe blah, blah, blah. Or whatever it is, like, use those memories because people like to see, they like to look back at the past too, because chances are it'll trigger something for them. And then they're going to message you and be like, oh my gosh, remember when, da, 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 da. Great way to start conversing, great way to get some different, you know, to be authentic, to still be you.
Yes, 100, yes, and yes. Oh, and make sure your pictures are really high quality, like all of them. And Cameron's really good about that. She's like, her pictures are always, you got like light and I don't know, something you got going on. It's like, oh, her skin's always amazing and the lighting's perfect. And she's like, mom mode.
So funny. No, you're sweet, but not always. But I do strive for that because I think we should think about like what we see when we scroll, like when we scroll through the news feed. You know, like what attracts you? Is it a dark picture that's just kind of like, oh wait, let me see, I can't really tell what that is. Or is it something that you're like, oh wow, hello. You know, so put on your dream board one of those awesome ring lights. Those are amazing. And until you have the awesome ring light, there's a lot of different cool like gadgets that they use, even that you can grab at, you know, on Amazon or at a store locally that's some kind of light. You can get the little clip-on light that goes on your phone. Like, be resourceful. For less than $20, you can upgrade the quality of your pictures tremendously.
Yeah.
Right? So yeah, that's a good
huge. And then patterns. You know a lot about like the patterns and stuff. That's like up your alley.
So I think with patterns, you know, again, it kind of ties into like the tapping into all your different personality types. Like, I try to be very like, without being overly strategic, I try to be mindful about what I'm posting and have a variety of like, hey, like encouragement, like, hey, you're awesome, you can do this. And like, hey, dream bigger, like all of these, you know, things that I want to get out there to the world. Like, I use powerful quotes, and I always try to think of like, who's this quote going to hit? I want this to hit people's hearts. I want, you know, a quote that you just throw a quote out there and it's like, okay, whatever. Or a quote like boasting on yourself. Like, that's not the goal, because what is it really doing for you or your business if people are just like, oh, you're amazing. Like, that's not what we're looking for. We want people to feel empowered. We want people to read it and be like, heck yeah, yes, I am awesome. You know, being attentive about that, but then not just being all quotes or not being just all inspiration, like, rah, rah, you can do this. No, it's about having a variety, a diversity. Think about what your social media presence was prior to Prove It. And you don't have to stay there because, you know, the idea is progression and growing in that. But like, be that same person. If you're the person that, you know, people followed every bit of what was going on in your life, like your Dre's Day Love, it was like a TV show for them, then great. If you're that person that's just like, everybody knows you're going to post the most awesome pictures of your kids, that's what you do, you know, or maybe it's, a hobby. Maybe you're a scrapbooker. I don't know, whatever it is. Like make, how do I say it? Like, I can't remember the verbiage that they used, but either way, make sure that you're diverse in that, and you don't want to all of a sudden just be like, prove it, ketones, because it's just going to become like white noise. People are going to block you out. You want to, your goal is like value, giving people smiles, empowerment, and then in there sprinkling in like, oh, by the way, this is my awesome juice. Like, this is how I'm able to be this positive person that I'm putting on there. Not fake, but positive, right? Authentic. So I think it's being really mindful about keeping all that, because you'll notice too, like some people are like, oh, nobody comments on my post about Prove It or ketones, but they comment on everything else that I put. And I'm like, okay, well then do a better job at like making it seamless.
Yes.
Like, you make your ketones a part of your life. Make this new journey a part of your life, but in a way that it still seems authentic.
Yes. Love that. 100%. Yes. That's what this is all about. Being authentic, bringing it in, making it a part of your life, sharing your journey, and getting people to be involved with your journey, like making people want to know what's happening next. And they, like, to the point that they were like, well, I want to do this too. What is it that you're doing? I don't even know what you're doing, but it just looks and feels amazing. So I want to do it too. And that's our goal. Being organized, being really, really mindful with our time, managing it, making sure we share our time, not only with our business, but with our family, because that's super important. Number one, family is always priority. But stay organized. Like, you guys got this. Hopefully this training was extremely helpful. I know we talked about a lot. So like Cameron said, go back, listen to it a couple times, take notes. Notes make a whirlwind of difference. And maybe we can find a way to share the notes that, we got from Epic. And yeah, I think you guys are going to implement this and see a major difference in what your social media presence is really doing for your business.
Yes, yes, yes. Thank you guys. Y'all are awesome. Thank you, Sam,
Yes.
for doing this with me, and we'll see you guys soon.
Adios.
Bye-bye.